Today, Joe Biden meets with Vladimir Putin amid concerns over military aggression. Also, a judge halts Joe Biden's vaccine mandate on federal contractors. We have got all that and more coming up, and it all starts right now. Welcome to the news and why it matters. I am Sarah Gonzalez, reporting to you live from the tundra here at Blaze TV. You may notice that I'm wearing something that looks largely unfashionable around me. That is because, yes, I am indeed wearing a blanket around me just to keep myself from shaking like a wet chihuahua as I provide the news for you. I am also joined at the table by my friends, both Jaco Booyens, Blaze TV contributor and host of the Jaco Booyens Show.
From the tundra.
Yes, and Amy Robbins, CEO of Alexo Athletica. Can you guys at least vouch for me that it is? I don't know how Amy's doing.
It is very. I mean, I'm very cold, but I was going to say it is very on brand with the coloring.
It's on brand.
So yeah, it's a good job.
Well, Sarah's not going to be.
Of course not
Fashionable
right.
while being warm.
Yes.
I mean, I do what I can.
Fashionable.
I do what I can. I mean, I did have a.
I wish they could see his shoes.
Yeah, well, and the pants.
And pants.
And I will say, this top actually is very cute because like the shoulders are cut out, but I don't want them to like feel the coldness in the room, so I have to cover them.
The coldness.
I'm cold enough as it is. It doesn't need any more cold here in my body. All right. So let's get into the news of the day. So Joe Biden and good old Vladimir Putin held a virtual summit today. Apparently, they made very little headway in diffusing the crisis over Ukraine in the wake of a Russian troop buildup, and instead delegated officials from both countries to just stay in contact. So it almost feels like it was just kind of like, I don't know, for this headline right here, that they decided to do this call since they did not make much headway. The call was apparently, the readout that the White House provided was 145 words in length. So not very long in that regard. But let me let you hear from National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, who is like, oh, no, Biden was really straightforward and super strong on this. Watch.
President Biden was direct and straightforward with President Putin, as he always is. He reiterated America's support for Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. He told President Putin directly that if Russia further invades Ukraine, the United States and our European allies would respond with strong economic measures. We would provide additional defensive materiel to the Ukrainians above and beyond that which we are already providing. And we would fortify our NATO allies on the eastern flank with additional capabilities in response to such an escalation.
So after the call, Joe Biden apparently spoke to leaders of the UK, Germany, France, and Italy by conference call. And he said that they were going to continue staying in close touch on a coordinated and comprehensive approach in response to Russia's military buildup on Ukraine's borders. It is interesting. I know you have a Russian spokesperson coming in and saying Russia is not going to attack anyone. Don't worry about us. We're always telling the truth and on the up and up. You can trust us. They said Russia's not going to attack anyone, but we have our own concerns and our own red lines. Putin has made them clear. And analysts said that Putin was prepared to use force in order to achieve his aims in Ukraine, but that an offensive was not a foregone conclusion. So, it's just that, like, while we have all of this worldwide unrest, it just feels very terrifying to have a president that I'm not sure is even like upright at any given point in time.
Yeah, I just miss the good old days when we wouldn't be worrying about the Russian leaders and the Chinese leaders even talking this way to our president. We had a president back in the day that would
back in my day,
put his foot down, and he would say, look, if you're going to do this anymore, he would draw the line in the sand. And if you crossed it, you knew that our president was going to take action. And the thing is Russia, China, they know that they can make these threats because they have a president in the White House right now that's literally not good for his word, and he's not going to do anything about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, he could draw red lines in the sand like Obama did.
Well,
He says that, hey, that's a red line. You shouldn't cross that.
No, don't you do it.
Whoa. Did you cross that red line? You should not have done that. I'm going to send you a strongly worded letter.
Yeah, exactly. Some economic action, right? Putin doesn't care about economic action. This guy speaks one language, and that is military power. That is force. Can I remind you, this is a man's man. This is a guy that's there by force. But this is significant for me because something nobody's talking about, and not that I want to get away from the story, but it is your concern about Biden as a sitting commander-in-chief in a time of conflict, international conflict. Russia, Putin, who said we won't attack, Russia just declared that they're going to strike Israel if Israel strikes Iran. And there was a massive explosion this week in Iran at a nuclear site, and it's told to be a UAV, an unmanned vehicle, that struck Iran. And so I'm telling you, if Biden is not on his game, which he's not, we're going to catch ourselves off guard where Putin's going to go, that's it. I'm going against one of your allies who you're supposed to be in, and we're going to be in deep trouble, if not directly, indirectly. But there's so much turmoil happening around the world. You know, we're so COVID-focused and Omicron-focused. There's real political issues happening in the world, serious things like this. And we are so weak that we're going to send a delegation and say, listen, I'm going to tax you. If you bomb people and you kill them, I'm going to tax you. You're going to pay a little more. Really? Vladimir Putin, of all people on earth, is going to respect that. Come on, it's a laughingstock. That's what we are. There's no respect.
I also seem to recall when a certain other president was in office that you would get criticized for even having a meeting with people like Vladimir Putin and, you know, Kim Jong-un. And right, you're not even allowed to talk to them because they're so inherently evil. But here we are, and they're like, oh, diplomatic Joe.
Compromising.
Yeah, diplomatic Joe is over here. He has to have these conversations. It would have been nice if they would have given all presidents that kind of credit, even if they had an R behind their name.
Didn't the president of China call Joe Biden his good friend?
Yeah.
I mean, let's not forget that, too. Right.
Well, when you work so closely with Joe Biden's son,
right.
You become good friends, Amy.
When he's stewarding $1 billion of your dollars, you're friendly.
You're friends.
You're friendly.
Yeah, I'd say that. I'd like a friend like that. That's all I'm saying.
Good friend.
I don't know that you want those strings, though.
No, you know? Definitely not.
Because trust me, China pulls one of the strings on the puppet called Joe Biden.
Well, it really will be interesting to see how this plays out, and I guess how the leftists react to it, because we were told that President Trump was the one to be scared of if there were any sort of foreign conflict. We would have a president that was completely unprepared. I think we can see from the poll numbers that are coming out, day in and day out, that America realizes that it is, in fact, Joe Biden that is completely unprepared. I want to get into another story that I think both of you will find interesting. So over the weekend, a swimmer from the University of Pennsylvania who swam, let me get this right, you guys listen very carefully, swam for 3 years for the men's team before switching to the women's team as a transgendered swimmer, shockingly destroyed the biological women in the competition, winning the 1650 free by a gargantuan 38 seconds ahead of the woman, the actual woman who finished second. And Leah Thomas, I guess, who used to be known as Will Thomas, is now known as Leah Thomas, was crushing all of the women in this particular contest. And now I will say this. It is interesting because I do think that there is a little bit more criticism coming out of this because people see that. Let's show this picture. Look at this picture.
Yeah,
that's just clearly a dude who grew his hair out. I don't.
You could put lipstick on a pig, Sarah. You can put lipstick on a pig.
For 3 whole years, he swam as a biological male. What I would like to know, and I don't see it in this article, what I would like to know is if he ever got anywhere on the men's team.
No, he was
That was what I was just about to ask. I'm tired of seeing these men who just can't cut it in the men's division decide, well, I just guess I really want to win a medal, so I'll just compete in the women's division. And where are the feminists on this issue stepping up and saying...
They're not feminists.
They're not feminists.
A bunch of selfish individuals. They don't care about women for one bit.
No, obviously. And they don't care what's happening to women's sports. They don't. But yeah, I mean, look, if the guys were winning in the men's division, they wouldn't be stepping out and going into another division to try to crush someone that is, inherently slower, weaker. I mean, and those aren't just things that I'm trying to make up here to say that women are less than or inferior to men. It's just biological that we are usually weaker, usually slower than men. I say this all the time from a Second Amendment standpoint, and why I believe that the firearm is the great equalizer between men and women, because when women are slower, smaller, and not as strong, we have to have something that equalizes the playing field. And so that extends into everything, even into sports. And so, yeah, we're going to continue to see men crushing and dominating women's sports when they are inherently and biologically stronger and faster.
And I'm so glad what you just said. Men crush. He's a man. That is a man. There's nothing female about that guy. He's a man. He's a coward. He's a weakling. He's beating up on women. This is abuse. UPenn should be ashamed of themselves. So you hate women. That's what I'm going to say.
Well, it's the NCAA, really.
Well,
it's
the NCAA are anti-women. They're anti-women. They're so woke that they literally, with this statement, what they say is women don't matter. You don't matter. You can't have your own division. You can't compete amongst one another. And like so many of the comments, this is what I'm asking now for all female athletes to do. If there's a dude that lines up on the starting block, on the line, in the swimming pool, in gymnastics, walk away. Kill the whole meet. Kill the whole meet. Okay, because now what just happened there is they awarded records to this guy.
Yeah.
Now you're altering history. You're altering reality.
And it's so defeating. I can't imagine being a woman who's putting in the hours and the time to be better at her sport, to make something of herself. Think about the women that are trying to get scholarships to school.
Oh, bye-bye scholarships.
They're just not even going to be able to compete anymore if more and more biological men enter into this field. That is so defeating.
Yeah.
That's the guy what I want to do. Okay, so he won there. He won by 38 seconds. I didn't see the celebration, but I promise you it was huge. I would say, okay, now we're going to swim again. We're going to put you against the best in the nation, and we're going to humiliate the living crap out of you and let you just come back down to earth because you just did that to women.
Yeah.
You just did that to women. Sorry, I'm vicious on this. Okay, I have zero tolerance for this when it comes to people abusing women. That's a coward. Him and all his followers.
We appreciate you being on this, Jaco, because it needs to be said. All right, we've got more to come. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Omega XL. So if you are one of millions of Americans who you just live in constant pain all the time, maybe it's your hips or your knees or your feet, maybe you have arthritis, whatever the case may be, you got to take Omega XL, all right? There is a science behind it. When we are young, our bodies produce SPMs. These are lipid mediators that help our bodies to fight inflammation. But as we age, we start not producing as many SPMs. So that can lead to you being in a ton of pain. Omega XL can actually restore your SPMs, rejuvenate your joints, and really attack the inflammation in your body that's causing that pain. So if you're using a topical cream and you're rubbing it on your neck or your shoulders or wherever the pain is, you're not actually defeating the root cause of the problem. You're just masking it. Don't mask it, all right? Defeat the root cause with Omega XL. If you order a bottle of Omega XL, I can't talk today, right now you will get a second bottle for free over at omegaxl.com/news. I'm telling you, if you are living in pain, this is totally worth it. It will change your life if you can get out of pain. omegaxl.com/news. So you guys may recall hearing, I believe it was last week, that there was a preliminary injunction issued against the Biden administration for their vaccine mandate for federal contractors. I know this is very difficult to keep track of because there are a lot of vaccine mandates that they put onto people, one being federal employees, another being federal contractors, all of these different entities. This one particularly was for federal contractors. There was the preliminary injunction that was put forth last week. A federal District Court Judge Stan Baker of the Southern District of Georgia actually just shot that down. like entirely. So the Judge Stan Baker says that, I love this. He said, blocking the mandate didn't indicate that the vaccine wouldn't be effective to stopping the spread of COVID-19, but rather that Biden didn't have the power to issue such an executive order, which I love because the judges are making the point. It doesn't really freaking matter if you do even think that it would stop it.
It's
reach? Not within the Constitution. You are overreaching your power. Which this judge echoed the Kentucky judge who had issued the same type of ruling. So the court found that the states could likely prove that Congress didn't clearly authorize the president to issue the mandate and that it goes far beyond addressing administrative and management issues in order to promote efficiency and economy in procurement and contracting.
Well, here's what I want to know. This is my concern because I've had several friends that are contractors, not employed by the federal government, contractors who were faced with this mandate. Morally, religiously, they were not allowed, they couldn't get any type of exemptions for this, right? We all knew that was happening. And they really were having this moral issue of their conscience. Do I get it? Do I not? I'm going to lose my livelihood. Some of them gave in and got the vaccine. Didn't want to do it, and now the mandate is, now it's coming down that they didn't really have to do that. And so what I want to know for these people, are they going to have, if anything were to happen to them after the vaccine, were they going to be able to have any recourse in this?
Well, the problem is that I think, and really it's the government's problem for confusing people, but I think the official mandate wasn't supposed to take place until January 4th. So
no, I thought they had to have 2 by December 15th, and then I thought the injunction pushed it to January 4th.
Right, but I don't think that they reached the time period where they had to get it, right? Like they never played the clock out.
Well, so prior to, because I remember my friends going back and forth on this.
Because it's only December 7th.
Yeah,
right?
they had gotten like the first round before.
They came under pressure early.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. So and I'm not saying that I understand that that's what some people chose, and I understand being faced with that, and I understand, like, I wouldn't ever make that choice, but I understand why they did it. I'm just saying, technically, they didn't wait until the last possible minute, so they could have waited to see if anything had happened in the courts. They knew maybe that there were lawsuits pending, and they just went ahead and did it. I don't know. Right, like that would be difficult to prove because they got it before the mandate was supposed to be in effect. But let me just throw this stat out at you because this is incredible to me. That particular mandate with federal contractors would have affected 25% of the United States workforce. 25%, because it includes all of these really large companies, Lockheed Martin, Google, Microsoft, General Motors. Like
sanitary
these are
services.
Gigantic, gigantic companies that have a ton of employees. So that it would have affected a quarter of the U.S. workforce. That's incredible.
That is incredible.
So you do have to wonder how many people went ahead and got it because of that and only that.
Yeah, which for me is why they did it that way, because they understand that it's critical mass. But to your point, will there be recourse? There should. But I don't think there will be. But this is the warning sign. A verdict like this, a ruling like this, just further proves a mandate is not a law.
Yep.
People, stop acting on mandates. A mandate is not a law, because here to this point, what happened now is people got afraid of a mandate because maybe don't even know a mandate's not a law. And now the law passes and they go, no, Mr. President, this is unconstitutional. You can't do this. And I guarantee you there's some of your friends that go, no, dang it. You forced me to do this, and it wasn't even legal. No, it's not legal. A mandate is not a law. So I would say if there is some sort of a mandate at your job site or wherever, and you are teetering back and forth, right? Push it to the last second.
Play that clock out,
right?
as long
Run
as
the
you
clock
can.
out because somebody is fighting it on your behalf,
right?
Even if you're not. There is a lawsuit somewhere, right? And there's someone at least going against the President of the United States, even if it's just a judge who wants to rule the law, that's going to go unconstitutional, right? So that you don't look back like some of your friends and go, well, dang it, man, I thought this was going to ruin my life.
Yeah.
And for some, it has ruined their lives.
And this particularly, it's interesting because, the Biden administration is just getting miss after miss after miss with all of these vaccine mandates. The mandate for private companies with more than 100 employees obviously has been suspended. OSHA decided not to continue with that after the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled an injunction against the mandate. The Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals is considering a lawsuit that was brought by the Daily Wire and other companies challenging the mandate as well. But it's like every ruling that we have seen come down on this mandate has been in favor of freedom, which quite honestly in this day and age, and the way that I know that, there are a lot of judges who want to legislate from the bench. I am happily surprised. I'll still say I'm cautiously optimistic because I never want to put that much faith in the United States government.
Right.
But cautiously optimistic.
Well, it also surprises me that with this coming down the pipeline, you're still seeing mayors like in New York City saying, well, we don't really care what the federal government is saying. Well, now it's a state issue. And so now we're going to mandate.
Good, put pressure on Bill de Blasio.
Yeah.
Well, de Blasio is mandating private sector companies to do this as well. And I'm just sitting here saying, like, why don't these companies stand up to these tyrants that are trying to thwart and go around? And I love that the states are like, oh, no, we have to do this because the federal government's telling us to. And then now they don't have that to fall back on, that they're really showing their true colors as to how tyrannical they really want to be and how much this is about control by coming back and saying, nope, we're going to go ahead and mandate private sector businesses have to have this as well. No, I think the people of New York need to stand up and say, not happening.
It's unconstitutional. If the president, it's real simple. If the president of the United States does not have the constitutional power, nor will your governor or your mayor or your county clerk, your county judge, your county commissioner, okay? All these folks, that's way overreach. But honestly, when last did anybody in this country prior to 2020 have mandate conversations? Never. People are not. So there's a lot of people I talk to go, no, it is a law. I go, no, it's a mandate.
Well, and that's
it's not a law.
And that's why I say I think the government has been intentionally misleading on that.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, they're doing it on purpose. That it wasn't an accident that Joe Biden came out and said, OSHA is going to have this new rule and you're going to be mandated to do this. And they didn't even have the rule drafted yet. But they knew that it would force employers to go, oh, crap, we don't want to be hit by OSHA, so we need to cooperate.
There's no walking it back.
There's no going back on it. Yeah. Right. But to my point on that, it's like, okay, so even the employers, if they were following this mandate, what type of recourse do the employees have that have already been fired from it, have already been let go?
Their job.
They lost their job. So, I mean, the mandate may not actually be a law, but it still had far-reaching implications for people in their lives because they were acting as if it was the law.
Absolutely. No, and I'm not diminishing.
And then it would become a private company issue.
Yeah, I'm not diminishing that at all. There's lives severely altered. As a matter of fact, there's lives lost.
Yes.
There's people who have fallen into economic turmoil who took their own lives because of a mandate that was pressed on them. And that's the catastrophe. And this is where the government's going to go, spilt milk. Don't cry over spilt milk. But I actually think it's way more nefarious than that. Because they're not getting it at the federal level, I think their phone calls running to people like Bill de Blasio go, push it at the state. Let's milk this thing as far as we can. And if they can't get it at the state level, they'll push woke companies to go, now you push it. They'll just keep kicking the can.
And they'll push the banks that fund the private sector companies.
100%.
I mean, they're going to try to get this done.
Yeah.
Yes, they're going to try to get this done however they can. And the only way to push back is to have more and more people standing up against it that say, no, we believe in freedom of choice on this issue, and we're not going to let you guys bully us into doing something that we're not comfortable doing.
I think the only saving grace in it, and I want to support your point that there's so much is broken because of it. They've done a lot of damage, but the saving grace is when you see people come out like Noah and some of the crazy people on CNN who are now saying, well, whoa, you told us that 3 vaccines are enough, and now you come, oh my God, maybe this kind of action says, finally, there's going to be a larger push against it, even from the left, that says, well, enough is enough, and maybe that's the saving grace where they finally, the covers are off,
right.
And they go, wait a minute.
we thought this was the law. Now it's not the law. You made me get it. And then they will fight for the next round that's coming, because there's another round coming.
Sure.
Yeah, you have to believe eventually they'll get it and start fighting with us. All right, we've got more to come. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Patriot Mobile. So, look, standing up for what you believe in, it can be challenging, especially if you are a conservative in America in 2021. But there are really basic things that you can do to stand up for your principles. Like, number one, buying from companies that believe what we believe in. We got to stick together. And there is one mobile phone company that has been standing with you since 2012. That is Patriot Mobile. They are America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. They have the same nationwide coverage as all the other carriers. These carriers, they all share the same towers these days. So it's all the same coverage. Patriot Mobile has plans to fit any budget. They've got 100% US-based customer support, and they share your values, more importantly. They support organizations that are fighting for things like religious freedom. They're going to take a portion of your money and donate it to fights that you actually believe in, that you want your money to be going to, instead of Big Mobile that's going to take it and spend it on like donating to Planned Parenthood. Don't do that, all right? Go to patriotmobile.com/news. You can get free activation with the offer code NEWS. By the way, if you are a veteran or a first responder, they are going to give you a discount on top of their already awesome prices. So support a company that loves America, loves you, and shares your values over at patriotmobile.com/news. That is patriotmobile.com/news. Jussie Smollett is actually going through his trial. I don't know if you guys realize this. I know the mainstream media is trying as hard as they can to just avoid all of this, but it has been very interesting to watch the coverage of this particular trial. So let me give you a couple of things here. Let me give you this first one, which is Jussie Smollett asks the special prosecutor, Dan Webb, Jussie Smollett was on the stand for his trial, and he's facing 6 counts regarding the allegations that he staged the hate crime against himself in 2019. He claimed that he was a victim of racist and homophobic incidents, and so he's on trial about this. And Special Prosecutor Dan Webb is reading his text messages, and here's some coverage of it. Matt Finn, who said, Smollett interrupts Special Prosecutor Dan Webb as Webb was reading aloud one of Smollett's messages that had the N-word in it. Smollett said, "Can you spell or say the N-word out of respect for every African-American in this room? You've been saying that word a lot." And Dan Webb said, "I don't intend to do that, sir. You can read your messages aloud." And then Smollett had to then read his own message aloud. So just beautiful, beautiful work by Special Prosecutor Dan Webb. Another little tidbit that we received was that Jussie Smollett actually got insider information from none other than Don Lemon. So he actually did not hand his phone over to the police initially because Don Lemon actually texted him that the police did not believe him, which is very interesting. He said he had gotten a text message directly from Don. And he said, CPD does not believe you, and so he didn't want to comply. So I say this to say, and I want to get your thoughts on this particular, the trial and everything, but I say this to say, weren't you just on when we were talking about Chris Cuomo, and you, Jaco Booyens, said, don't stop there. We need to get all of them fired.
Come on.
It's interesting, this
revelation.
Me
yesterday
I'm like,
July.
Don Lemon is warning people under investigation that the cops don't believe him? Who is he talking to? I don't think that man should be on the air.
No, I say you keep going. You don't stop. Just pull the thread. My grandpa said, get a shovel and dig. You're going to find something. Let's keep going, because here's the deal, though. Smollett knew that Don was implicated. Don probably sent him a message, hey, dude, if they get your phone, it's called Discovery, and Discovery, this is going to come out. Yeah. So he held the phone back.
Yeah.
Of course, he was feeding him information, which now I say, okay, great. Lemon was feeding Smollett. Now I want to know who in the police department was feeding Lemon. Let's go over that police chief. Let's chase it all the way down. Let's take Chi-Town down all the way down, okay? Let's go. All right, and what a joke. What a joke to say, can you please not say the N-word out of respect for the black community? But you're using it 7 times in your text messages. Yeah. This is my whole thing. You call your own brothers the N-word. Oh, so you have no respect for the black community. Is that what you're saying?
Right.
I mean, the hypocrisy is insane. Virtue signaling, posturing. No, it's such a joke. But I say keep going. You get Cuomo, you get Lemon, keep going.
just the most
Don't
beautiful
stop.
gift of 2021
Just
for
keep
all
it
that
this
we've had to
forward.
go
this year.
through.
Come on.
Please, just getting Chris Cuomo and Don Lemon off the
Yeah.
air. And Brian
Stelter.
Stelter, just
Let's
make
go
it the
for
trifecta.
MSNBC,
Come
Joy
on.
Reid. Let's just get them all.
I mean,
that'd
we've
be
had to
great.
go through enough in 2021.
Maddow.
That's true.
Let's go for Maddow. Let's go. I mean, Joy Reid, who wants porn in schools. Let's go for. Come on. Let's just get. Hey, Newsom. Let's go all the way. Right?
I when I've read this, I just kept thinking that, these people have just gotten away with things done in the dark for far too long that they just never think anything is going to happen to them. And I would just love to say, the Bible is full of infinite wisdom. And if maybe they would just take a little bit of time to read some of the warnings, like the verse that says, things done in dark will be revealed in the light.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth
They
sets you
could
free.
the truth will set you free. They could really learn something.
But they don't read that book.
They don't read that book, and that's what they don't realize. It hits them. When this happens, it just hits them, and they don't know what happened to them because, look, you start texting things like this in the dark, you don't think that it's ever going to be exposed in light, and now it's coming to light. And I hope it really starts to get more people thinking about what they're doing in the dark, and maybe some of this evil that is happening will get exposed, and people will turn from their ways.
I mean, imagine the stupidity involved in telling someone that the cops don't believe you, and therefore you're like, hey, they're digging into you more, and texting it to them knowing that your text would be read.
Not
They walk in
watch
such an
CSI
ignorance.
and know that
Yeah.
anything you text message can be used against you. Like, they can find
At
your
least call
text
the guy.
But if
At
your
least write a
belief
note.
system, but if your belief system is that you're above the law and you've gotten away with it
That's
so
fair.
many different times. But remember, they normally get away with it when they enact these actions on the right. Now it's left on left. It's left going on trial, exposing the left. This is Smollett under oath going, yeah, Don did text me. It's like, dude, what the heck? I'm with you. And so that's why I say I love when they start cannibalizing one another. And a lot of these cases, what you're seeing now is left on left. And it's like, oh, Cuomo, and now they start pointing at each other like, who's to blame? It's
beautiful.
It's interesting.
Well, so speaking of all of these CNN hosts, Chris Cuomo is apparently preparing to file a lawsuit against CNN if the network refuses to pay him at least $18 million to cover the remainder of his contract at $6 million per year. He's no longer on the Sirius XM show either. He lost that as well. And he said that he wants the remaining 3 years on his 4-year contract. Now, I will tell you, CNN has already told reporters that the network has, quote, no intention of paying Cuomo a penny.
Good.
If he gets a
Stand your
settlement,
ground.
there would
Stand
be
your
uproar.
ground.
is
Because
what they said.
contractually, I guarantee you it's in the contract that he doesn't
100%.
get it. So, no, your favors are over. Your brother's no longer governor. The favors, the nepotism is done for you now.
Yeah, CNN doesn't write a contract with their high-powered lawyers. I'm sure that they have.
Right.
They
Well,
don't
they
write
have
a
the
contract.
host best
Right.
interest? Come on.
Right, they have the
That they don't-
morality
yeah.
clause, which is
Right.
more than likely. I mean, I haven't
Yeah.
read his contract,
Well, I'm
but
saying
more than likely.
surely they've protected themselves
Yes, and that's
enough.
a pretty broad net that can capture pretty much
it's
anything they
wide.
want to fire you for can fall under this morality
it's
clause.
wide.
And so, I hope CNN stands their ground and doesn't give them a penny.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, we've got more to come. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Built Bar. So make sure that you are stocked up this holiday season with Built Bar, because we all know our New Year's resolutions in January is, I need to lose the weight that I gained the year before. So you need to make sure that at the end of the year, you finish out strong and you don't expand your waistline even more, because you're going to be surrounded by all of those cookies and pies and all of those things that are way too high in calories to help you out. All right, you got to have Built Bar there to help you with the temptation. I know I just gave you
I got it
a
on the
good
camera
stock.
say,
Thank
Sarah
you.
made right.
Thank you.
Gave me, my kids were so happy yesterday. You know, my kids celebrate. I came in and they literally were jumping for Built Bar. And they were competing over the strawberry and
Yeah.
Philippa took the coconut, and
I love the
I
coconut
just
one.
take the leftovers because it's all good.
Right.
It's all good.
No, it is all good.
It's amazing.
Well, I am the Built Bar dealer in the building, so you guys just let me know whenever you need a
deals.
fix.
She does.
And
Under
I will
the
get
table,
you.
too.
I will get it for you. You can go to built.com if you'd like to go get them yourself. I'm telling you, you got to check out all the flavors. They're all delicious. You're going to find a bunch that you like, and you're going to stock your pantry with them. If you use promo code NEWS15, you'll get 15% off of your order. That is NEWS15 for 15% off over at built.com. I just love when normal, reasonable things trigger the left. Like this. The El Paso County Sheriff's Office in Colorado faced backlash from social media users after posting a tweet joking that Santa Claus came in and got a concealed handgun permit. So this is EPC Sheriff, that's the account. Guess who came in to receive his concealed handgun permit today with the Santa Claus emoji? Did you know the El Paso County Sheriff's Office has issued 49,750 concealed handgun permits with another 2,560 awaiting to be issued? For more info, please visit our website. I love this because not only is it in the spirit of the holidays, but it also is like, guys, here is how you can do it. Get armed.
Yes, way to
armed.
go, Santa.
license.
This made me so excited to see this. Joining those 21 million concealed carry permit holders. I mean, come on, Santa watches the news. He sees what's going on in Los Angeles.
Why?
He does. He watches this show. He realizes.
Santa, I've been good this year, I swear.
You have, but he's about to have to go, deliver presents to Los Angeles and Chicago and Minnesota and all these places that are defunding their. He needs some protection here. I don't blame him. And I really hope, Santa, that you have bought some men's Alexo pants to store that concealed carry firearm into when you go and take your presents.
They are very comfortable.
They are
and
very
they have the
comfortable.
drawstrings.
Well,
so
yes.
I gotta tell you, that was well done. That was well done. I mean, just wove it in there like Chappelle. This is the Amy hour.
There you go. No, I love this.
Listen, that's and this is I'm so excited because it's like, hey, how do you deliver the presents in Chicago? You better be packing. But I'll say this, on a serious note, he probably does. That man, whoever he is, probably actually does go stand outside a mall in a Santa suit.
Yeah, I mean, that is Santa Claus.
And he is legitimately probably going, I'm going to arm myself because they're letting people rob the stores and I'm going to be out. Yeah, so yeah. Next week we'll see the elves. The elves will come in.
Oh my gosh,
and then the reindeer.
Please just let me know where the Santa Claus is stationed because I would love to go get a photo with my family.
Exactly.
I just
Let's
love
shake his hand.
Only in Texas do you have the law enforcement office tweeting stuff out like that. And like, hey, make sure that you stock up this Christmas season on getting your concealed carry permits.
Hey, I'm glad that, I'm actually glad they're still promoting it, even though we have constitutional carry now in Texas. I'm glad that they're promoting people to at least go through the courses. You can still get your permit.
Yeah, but it's even Colorado.
Was it Colorado?
Yeah,
I saw El Paso and I thought that
County,
it was.
Colorado.
Oh, duh.
Which is,
that's even better.
Which is even better. It's Colorado.
That's great.
It's El Paso County, Colorado.
I
is
love
saying,
that.
Come on now.
Come on, let's do it.
We may be high, but let's not have altitude sickness.
That's even great. I love that.
Because they're smoking a whole lot of something in that
It's
state.
the gift that keeps on giving. It's a great gift.
All right, so speaking of concealed carry and just, 2A in general, Kyle Rittenhouse, I don't know if you guys have heard yet, but Kyle Rittenhouse actually joined us here at Blaze TV last night. We were all on Elijah and Sydney's show. That is Elijah Schaefer, Sydney Watson. It is called You Are Here. It was a very, very great interview if you just want to see an 18-year-old kid being an 18-year-old kid, right? And you hear him and you're like, he's just a regular kid. He had something horrible that happened to him, but at the end of the day, he's just a regular kid. Let me play a clip that I just thought was so interesting and so telling and how all of this trial affected him. We had talked about what he wanted to do when he grew up and what he wanted to do. He is 18, but he has a lot of life left to live. And previously he had said that he wanted to be a nurse, that he was going to enroll in nursing school. I think they said at ASU. And he has decided to pursue a different career path. Here is Kyle Rittenhouse from You Are Here.
Do you have plans to work in media ever? Or what's your plans? I mean, can you say anything?
I want to be a lawyer.
Really?
Yeah, I want to go to law school.
Hell yes. If I ever need a lawyer, I'm hiring you.
So hold on. So did you just decide that during the trial, or was that something you always wanted to do?
Towards the end of trial, I'm like, I want to go against corrupt piece of prosecutors like Thomas Binger and put them in their place and make sure they never practice law again.
So yes, if you get a little faint at foul language, you may not want to watch this, but I would say just suck it up and watch it anyway, because again, this is an 18-year-old kid being an 18-year-old kid, and God bless him, he has a passion for this now. He's like, they did this to me, and they shouldn't have been able to do it to me, and I want to go to school to help make a change so that doesn't happen to other people.
Yeah, I've been, I was not that this is important, but I've been a professional athlete for a lot of my life, so I meet a lot of celebrities. And I met Kyle this afternoon here coming into and I'll tell you what really struck me is there's a sincere humility in this kid.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, he just went through hell on earth and fear and whatever, but there's not a, oh yeah, look at me, I'm riding high. There's an absolute humility in this kid. I mean, I had a great conversation with him, and he's a, no offense, Carl, but you're a kid. He's a
I
kid.
asked him if he took offense that we kept calling him a kid. He said, no, I am a kid.
And honestly, in person, he looks
good.
like he's 14 years old. He's like, and he went through trauma, and I'm actually quite proud of him for how he's standing, right? And then, God will take all things Satan intends for evil and turn it for good. And if this means that he becomes a lawyer that's going to go stand for the abused and the accused and the downtrodden, hey, good on you for taking your own life situation, not get on the victim train and go, I'm gonna go get proactive about this. And that's amazing. I was impressed.
Yeah.
I was impressed. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I'm so excited to watch this because I also got to meet him out in the hallway, and I think the thing that struck me with this entire trial, and this, what the left tries to do all the time, is dehumanize these people and a kid like this. So I want to hear it because I want to hear his answers. I want to just see him in his normal environment because the only time I really got to see him was on trial, on that stand, and so I'm really interested to
Well, I mean,
hear
even the
it.
previous interviews, Tucker Carlson, it's a much more formal,
Right.
formal interview.
Eliza's
This was
show-
more, this was
that
more,
show
it wasn't
You can
completely
loosen it up and feel like a
disarms, yeah.
kid.
it wasn't even really an interview. It
No,
was just a
it's conversation.
conversation. We were just
That's
all
Elijah
talking.
Sidney does an amazing job on that show. I've been on that show. It's an amazing environment to get. People should watch it.
Yeah.
They're gonna get a different side of Kyle.
I would imagine some of them have already seen the headlines. I know people were texting me like, you're on TMZ today. Why are you on TMZ today? Because there were just apparently some controversial things, but I think it's going to be very good for Kyle. I think it's a good reminder that these people that I don't want to say put on a pedestal, but these people that we talk about, they're in the headlines every day for so long, and people talk about them on Twitter. They, wish them death and all of these things. It's like, these are real people. You guys, these are actual people with actual feelings, and this was a kid that had to turn into a man very quickly, and it was just really, really nice to see him just in a much more laid-back format. So again, you can find that over at Blaze TV. If you're a subscriber, it is obviously there on demand. If you are watching on YouTube, you can go to, it is not on the Blaze TV channel. It is actually, You Are Here has their own channel. So it is You Are Here, and you can find it. It was last night's episode. I just highly, highly encourage anyone who watched that trial, who really paid attention to what was going on in that trial and with Kyle Rittenhouse. I think that you will find it to be very enlightening. So make sure that you go and watch that. And we've got to take a break, but we'll be back. All right, don't forget to go wherever you find all of your audio podcasts. I don't know, maybe you're a truck driver. I know we've got a bunch of truck drivers that are out there on the road trucking along, and you need to listen to your favorite audio podcast. Well, just make sure that when you get to somewhere safe, you can go and subscribe. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you've rated the podcast. Make sure you've reviewed the podcast. That helps more people be able to find the show. And we all know when they're able to find the show, they're able to actually focus in on the real news and not the noise that the mainstream media wants you to focus on. Also, as an added bonus, you may see your review read live on air like the one today from Lizzie54, who said his 38 special, "The News and Why It Matters is something I look forward to each and every day. I like all the guests you have on. They all bring a lot to the table with their perspectives on every subject. Keep up the great work." Thank you so much, Lizzie, for your kind words. I also would just like to give a plug to my friends here. You got to make sure that you are following Jaco Booyens. He does tremendous work, not only on the border, but also in the realm of fighting sex trafficking. I mean, the man has about 1 million different talents. So you have to make sure that you are subscribed to his YouTube. Make sure you are following him on Instagram, all of the social medias. Make sure that you are checking out his content. Also, make sure that you pick up some Alexo Athletica leggings. I don't know if it may be too late for the holidays. I don't know.
Nope,
It's
you
not
still
too
have
late.
until the 12th to get it guaranteed by Christmas.
Wonderful.
Yes.
And for men and women.
And then get some for New Year.
That's right. Those New
You're
Year's
going to need those
resolutions.
jogger pants
Yeah.
after you eat at the Christmas season. So.